I'm Jennifer Johnson, and I raise sheep for their wool.
Welcome to Whispering Pines Shetland Sheep Farm in western New York State, home to our lovely flock of soft Shetland sheep. We breed and raise our sheep to produce soft, crimpy wool for hand spinners to enjoy. Thank you for liking this video and for subscribing to our channel. Yeah, that's me. Way up there in the loft, getting hay down. This video is going to be about the morning routine when there's lambs in the barn. It takes a little bit longer to get everybody fed and taken care of. But what else am I going to do? So I hope you enjoy this video. I'm going to take you through the routine of morning chores. And then we're going to stop in and look at each lambing jug just to catch up on who all's out there. And then I'm going to move the convalescents. Move their pen so you can see me doing that. Just regular basic stuff. Hope you enjoy it. Thanks for stopping by. All right, here's kind of a lot of detail, but this stack of hay over here is higher quality, and we've been holding that for lambing specifically. So when we were feeding the bred ewes isolated, and then obviously when they're in their jugs with their lambs, they're getting this hay. The hay I threw down in the beginning of the video is just for unbred ewes. And then there's a stack of hay right there to the right. You can't really see it. It's next to the pile of wood. And that is for the rams. Seems complicated, but it isn't. I'm using my little red cart to move the temporary pen for the convalescent, so had to pull out the tractor to get the hay out. So I feed the unbred ewes out on the pasture, and I just throw little slices along the fence line here for them. Another good reason why a workout routine is important. Those bales are roughly 50 pounds. So then I'll put down hay for the ewes that haven't hit their lambs yet, and I will move them over to the east wing so I can tend to the jugs without the pregnant ewes getting underfoot. So there's Belva in the lead, and then Gertrude, and then Lucretia in the rear. Give the minerals a stir. Sometimes they get stuck up in that pipe. Now I'm going to give each mother a small flake. We try to give them a pound at each feeding. It's really hard to measure it out correctly. Sometimes you give them too much, sometimes too little, but hopefully it balances out. If I can drag a full bale in there, it just makes it easier. Right into the west wing. And then I'll split it up there. this is the first video you've seen on my channel, I'm wearing a mask because it gets really dusty in there and I have been getting more congested and coughing. This is from the dust from the hay as well as the dust that just is from their, from their manure or whatever. Plus the hay and straw that's on the ground. It's just really dusty in there, so the mask has been helping. So that's all the hay that they need. So the balance of it I'll just put in the lobby area to keep for later on for the evening feeding.
All right, so these are the bred ewes. We have Lucretia, who obviously we know is bred. She's got a nice big bag. So this is Lucretia. And that's the one, of course, she's going to be one of the last ones because this is the one that I'm anticipating the most. I want to get that white ram out of Sebastian, out of her. I have a white ram out of Lucia, but this is the one I really want because of the way she's built, her long body. And a long body means I'm going to get more wool, which is our goal here, is to increase the amount of wool we get from each sheep. In the center is Gertrude, and she, I don't think is bred, but in my last video I talked a little bit about gestation and when we broke up the group, so she might surprise us, but I doubt it. And then Belva, who's showing, she's big, but she doesn't really have a bag. I felt her belly, her abdomen, to see if I felt any lambs moving, and I didn't. So I don't think she's going to have any lamb. So what our plan is going to be is once Lucretia has her lamb, or lambs, she is going to move into one of the lambing jugs over there, and Mabel, she's going to move into Mabel's lambing jug. Mabel's going to go out into the open space with her little girl. And then Lucia, who's in what we call the deluxe accommodation over here. Show you. So Lucia is also going to go in that open area on the west wing. And what we're going to do is we're going to put the two bred ewes that I don't think are bred, Belva and Gertrude, they're going to live in here until June 2nd or around there because that's the last day of the gestation period based on when we broke up the breeding groups. And we'll put a camera in here and we'll be able to monitor them. And they'll be out of the way so that I can have this space become the nursery, which is where the mothers and lambs are going to live outside of the jugs. I'm going to give them some time to get accustomed to not being isolated, being in a flock, learning how to socialize for that big day when they go out onto the big pasture, which is a really fun day to watch. So that's the plan. So when we go in here, this is going to become the nursery, and mothers are all going to be fed in a communal pile of hay. So it'll definitely be, Tatiana will be in this group once we move everything around, Mabel, and likely Tobia, her lambs are more than a week old. Carrie's lamb is gonna stay for a little bit just because she is so teeny tiny compared with the others. So Carrie is, let me just feel her bag. Okay, her bag is firm, but it's not hard. So what I think I might do with her, since the loss of her little lamb, is reduce her grain a little bit at night so she's not producing as much. But other than that, she's doing fine. She doesn't seem to be suffering any loss for the lamb not being here. And her other little fawn catmugget ewe lamb is just thriving. Still very small. Like I said, Carrie's lambs are really little, which we're probably not going to breed with Carrie again, but they're doing fine. But this one is so little that I'm going to keep these two in this jug a little bit longer than normal. I don't like to keep them in a jug for longer than a week, which, by the way, is a lot longer than some of the larger farms. But we have the luxury of having the space, and we can just, you know, we can accommodate a longer time where they are isolated with each other. So they'll stay in here. They will not go out into the communal pen for a little bit until she gets a little bigger. I haven't weighed her since the last weight I did on the video, so I might do that just to kind of get an eye for her. But what I want to do now is I want to take Carrie's lamb and put her up next to Ty's ram so you can get a true appreciation for the difference in size. So here's Ty's ram and here's Carrie's lamb. Their head size, and these lambs are 2 days apart in age. We're causing all sorts of chaos over here, so I'm gonna put them back. Visit into all the jugs. Mabel's little girl, who's almost, look at how tall she's gotten. I don't even have to bend over to say good morning. Got a little piece of dried clover in her mouth. So Mabel is my friendly, really friendly ewe, so I fully expect her lamb to be the same as her lamb from 2 years ago is. She's really super friendly. Then there's Tatiana. So Tatiana is a first-time mother. And I really have been, like last year we did the AI, which was great, and we selected those AIUs mostly based on relatedness, because we wanted to have lambs that were really unrelated to our rams. But this year I was excited to be able to use some of my red ear tag ewes that are 3 years old and still haven't had lambs. And Tatiana was one of those I've been really anxious to get lambs out of. And she didn't disappoint, just beautiful. They're developing lovely. She's got the spotted ram and the fawn catmugget ewe. And those of you that are paying really close attention might have noticed that Tatiana had a little string of her placenta remains hanging for quite a few days. And I was thinking about letting you know, if you were worried about a retained placenta, it actually just fell off. It was just a dried bit that was stuck to her tail. So then we have Tovia. And the funny thing about Tovia is that she hates me. And it's always been kind of ornery, but since she's a mother, she's become kind of relaxed and chill. I never hear a peep out of her. So I'm really happy with her. We've had lambs out of Tovia before. I have a white ewe out of Tovia, Tosca, who is also very high-strung, positive. So we've got a white ewe lamb and a fawn catmugget ram. So the white ewe lamb I'm really excited about, very pleased, out of Harry. We talked about Carrie and her little girl. Doing great, but we'll be enjoying time in the jug for a while. Then we have Paulina. Her ram lamb's thriving. He's probably going to be able to participate in the frolic. So this is Tatiana and her really well-built fawn catmugget ram. You know, you really can't tell by their faces that they're rams. When they come out face first, you try and guess, and you think you've got it, and you know they got a big poll or head, or their face is really dainty, but you can't tell. You just got to look at the reproductive organs to get that figured out. So Ty was the baby stealer, and she is now safely behind bars, has her own lamb, being a great mother. She's a second-time mom. I love this ram. I love how long his body is. And, you know, I'm looking at my histogram of fleece color. So fleece color is really not a big decision factor in breeding groups. The biggest one is relatedness. But color is up there because I sell, you know, I raise sheep for their wool, and the wool is what I offer to hand spinners. And there is a preference for color, and I'm kind of low on white and very high on gray, so I'd like to have a better balance there. The fawn, I'm thinking about it because I don't have a lot of Moritz or fawns any longer. So he might be something that we decide to stick with, keep around for a little bit. And then we have Rosalind's 2 gray rams, and I talked about their fleeces yesterday. So Rosalind's little rams are doing really well. I hardly had to do anything. They took right to the, so cute, right to the udder, and they're doing perfectly fine. So 2 gray catnugget rams. So what we're gonna do with the ram lambs, at the end of the summer, early fall, we're going to take wool samples from each ram and send them to Texas A&M for analysis, and then wait for those results. And when we get the results, we're going to look at that data, which is going to tell us, you know, in numbers how fine their fleeces are. We're going to look at their frame, look at their back legs, look at the length of their bodies, and we're going to feel their fleeces and make a decision about which rams could potentially become breeders here on the farm. Deciding to keep ram lambs over the winter for breeding stock is a big commitment. What you're signing up for there is a separate pen that you have to house them in, because you can't put ram lambs with adult rams. Rams are boys. Because the adult rams are very aggressive and will attack and possibly kill the lambs. So I have to put them in a separate pen outside, which means another heated water bucket that I have to maintain, and more hay that I have to provide, so there's a cost there, and just my time tending that pen of rams. So these rams, if we decide to overwinter them, they have to be really special. The ones that don't make the cut, we'll just send to auction. There is definitely a market for rams of that age, so that'll be their destination. So that's something that we're going to do at the end of the fall. Hi, Electra. Aida, are you here to listen to me talk about rams? So this is good. These are all the ones that were out on the pasture, and now they're in here giving the mothers a chance to mix and match and meld with, I call them they're just the unbreds, the ones that didn't have lambs. So last year we used artificial insemination, or AI, on a bunch of ewes. 3 of them actually got bred, and we got 6 ewe lambs out of them. So what that's done is it's opened up a lot of possibilities for us, because those 6 ewes have practically no relationship to the majority of the rams that we have on the farm, both the adults and these lambs. And that's important because you do not want to breed related sheep. You don't want to breed mothers to sons, siblings. So we put a lot of effort into it. Belinda, cut it out. Don't interfere with my video. So we put a lot of effort into making sure that we're not breeding related sheep. There are strategies where you do that. It's called line breeding. We don't use that strategy. So with the AI, and I have an AI playlist, a whole playlist about our experience with doing that. There's a whole series of efforts you have to do. But that's where we brought semen in from the UK, unrelated rams from farms in Great Britain. that are gonna just help diversify the genetics here on our farm. So here is Brynhild and her little girl, she's about a week old. I'm having a really hard time keeping track of what the date, I don't even know what today is. So she's driving. She's had one day out in the frolic and they did really well, found each other a couple times. And so that was awesome. And then over here we have our newest arrival. I'm very excited to introduce. So this is Hermione. And she had her lamb yesterday at a very convenient 7 o'clock in the morning. It was lovely, a beautiful day. A beautiful day to be born. So she's a white ewe, she's out of Harry. And I am going to do a genetics video. I'm going to go through all the lambs and talk about what their genetics are from a genotype standpoint and what it tells us about the parents. So we're going to learn a lot about our parents' genetics by what they've thrown. When I say what they've thrown, that means what they delivered, what they had. So you look at Hermione's tail. The Shetland breed has got what's called a fluke tail. Somebody had asked me in the comments about docking, which docking is where you cut the long tail off a lamb when they're like a day or two old. And the reason you do that is some breeds have very long tails, and what happens is the longer tails tend to they just get all sorts of issues as the summer progresses, fly strike, they can get I don't really know a lot about it because we don't have to deal with it. But this breed, the Shetland breed, like a lot of the northern, they call them the short tail breeds, you don't have to dock the tail. So it's just a trait of the Shetland breed. She's got a really nice fleece. I think it's going to be a longer fleece. I was talking about this yesterday. Stretchy. It's still crimpy, but her britch is a little, you can see like she's got a little bit of hair in the britch area.
Can't believe we forgot to stop in at Lucia's pen, but at any rate, our tally right now is 7 ewes and 7 rams. So here I am. I don't know if this is interesting, but this is the first time I'm going to be moving the 3 ewes I have I'm calling it the Convalescent pen. They're just ewes that are either older or on the thin side, or just I wanted to keep an eye on them. So the technique is I try to get them into the 3 panels.
I forgot about this. How annoying it is.
And I had forgotten about how I did it. I motivate them with food to get them over into a corner, and then I can close the panel. Because right now they're inside of the little shelter I've made for them.
It's been a while since I've done this, so I don't remember my technique.
So I created a little corner of grass over there thinking I would entice them, but they're also new to this, so they're just freaking out. But going forward, when I nudge the panels over to expose some fresh grass for them, when it's time to move it, they go right to it. But we're all new to the program here. So the ever useful grain was how I managed to get them over in that corner, lock them into a 3-paneled pen there, and that's how I'll move them. We had a ewe last year, well, we still have her, Adelina. She was, I would say, at death's door. She had a really heavy parasite load. And we put her in a pen like this. We did the same exact thing last year. It was English Garden and a couple other ewes. And by the end of the summer, she was
Okay, now I gotta get my halter.
really healthy, had gained a lot of weight. The parasite load had gone back to normal. So what we're doing here is they're going to a different section of grass every single day. So they're not re-exposed to the parasites that are coming out of their body in their fecal matter. So it's like hyper pasture rotation, right? Because it's a daily moving off of a contaminated paddock to a fresh one. And they weren't on this. The last time they were on this, any sheep were on it, was 12 months ago, and parasites don't live that long.
It's so good.
It is really lush and rich. The first day I put them out here, I actually put them on some hay first because it's good to build a base. Otherwise they get diarrhea going right out onto the rich grass.
I just feel like they should be a lot more grateful than they are that I put all this work into this. They just take it in stride, like, yep. They did good. That was all way overgrown. Put it connected over here. So I seem to remember this part I have to do really fast because they sneak out around. So I pushed this post out because the sheep have pushed it this way, the ones that are in the pasture. And that really holds this panel nice and fast. Aida. Little busybody. So that'll hold them for a day. They'll have this cleared out by tomorrow morning. And then I'm gonna keep moving them. Looks like 2 fencing lengths until I get more panels from the breeding groups because I'm out of panels. Something to put on the shopping list when I have time. Alright, cool.
Thank you for stopping by to watch this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you can come back soon.